Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Bragaton. Let's take care of some housekeeping. Oh, here we go. Have the Vox Spirits brought you anything interesting lately? Perhaps you'd be interested in a Vox transmission I intercepted not long ago, Lord Captain. The thoroughly encrypted message contained the coordinates of a landing site on a certain planet, marked as rare cargo. I have not been able to uncover anything else, but I believe the encryption was intended for those who are involved in unsanctioned trade activities. A multitude of scout ships tirelessly explore the expanse in search of new resource deposits, but unfortunately not all of them represent the interest of the Von Valancius dynasty. I occasionally intercept Vox transmissions from ships prowling your domain in search of easy loot. An asteroid the size of a small planet has been discovered in the Soto's tomb system, and the prospectors believe there may be a wealth of resources hidden under the crust. And that's like the first system you go to after Footfall. And the last item for today. A few pilgrims from Footfall who were graciously welcomed aboard have been filling the crew's minds with tales of a world of the Ascended. They say that prayers in a world near the cold star Cineris Maleficum have not ceased for several hundred years. They claim that the God Emperor himself chose this planet and raised all its people to his halls. It just coughs over the Vox system's grinding. We suppress these rumors to ensure that the crew are not distracted from their vital tasks. But perhaps you might decide to visit this planet, given its unusual reputation. Yeah, we most likely won't even leave the bridge this episode. All the catching up we have to do.
Rogue Trader.
Shall we discuss the mission on Thessera?
Of course. Which part?
Can't believe we never talked to him about that. Oh, what do you think we could have done to satisfy the Prefect?
I do not know. It was one of those tough situations where only time will tell how well you handled them. If I were in your position, I would take the Prefect's evaluation in stride and learn from your painful experience on Thessera. Sometimes, life knocks the wind out of you in a way that can't be dodged, so it helps to learn how to take a hit.
Well, that's right. This is after we reported to the Administratum on Dargonus. The Prefect can say what she likes. I'm convinced that I made the right choice.
I'm not going to call the Prefect's judgment into question, but you had to make a difficult decision, and you made it. You took responsibility. I appreciate such qualities in people.
Solomorne peers at you. I'm curious. Do you like any of the entertainment we saw in Thessera?
I was on a mission, not attending to pointless amusements.
There must have been something that appealed to you.
Very well. If you insist, let me think about it one more time. The wine smelled like wash. The imposter hunt was a plot. I failed to see anything appealing there. And the rest of the festivities had all the characteristics of degradation. I believe that covers everything.
You're simply no good at enjoying yourself.
You are quite right, and I'm almost proud of it. What kind of arbitrator would stoop to idle revelry, or throne forbid, dancing?
What a boring man you are.
You should take that into account if you ever need an escort for some high society events. You know, one who actually has your back and keeps watch instead of drinking.
Enough about that.
We could discuss something else. You know where it's...
Broke free the bold from captors grasping. Dark cities, feeble dungeons, eternally disgracing. Flows now this saga in the hall of glorious feasting, where all extol the wolf mighty and the yet fatter cunning.
With thunderous laughter, the giant warrior triumphantly roars.
I hope you're not going to put off the feast. Our escape demands a grand celebration.
Yeah, I wonder if I missed content by turning down the celebration. I was trying to roleplay it, but I may have goofed up. After clearing his throat, Ulfar adds in a more ordinary voice. What are you planning to do with your newly acquired freedom?
Find my pack. As we speak, they are likely performing some bloody service for Calcazar. For that reason, I want to have a word with the Inquisitor. Fenris Hjolda, et fater.
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations.
What does your special sight reveal?
I regret that I failed to see Iliad's designs through the prism of my own powers, Lord Captain. But now, I think I'm beginning to understand the Xenos' intentions a little better. Their lies, their fear, their fury. Now Iliad's colors are woven together in my eyes into a single, garish tapestry of alien emotions. And though its shining makes my eyes bleed, I see the way Iliad dissolves into the whiteness of grief every time she speaks of home. And the way crimson flashes electrify the air every time her betrayal is mentioned. Jai continues to envelop herself in the variegation of her habitual masks, changing her colors at will like so many garments. But deep within her heart, trembles a timid seedling the color of smoky lilies. It is grimy, burnt, and covered in ash. But it is genuine. Who knows? Perhaps one day Jai will allow it to grow and blossom. The fire of a rising sun illuminates Ulfar's face. A blaze so incandescent, it is painful to look at. But whenever the fire subsides, even for a second, at once an undercoat of dismal grayness and repulsive green haze envelops his shoulders. No one around him notices it. But I see.
Cassia waves her hand, throwing an invisible shawl off her own shoulders.
The colorful shards of stained glass have risen up and enveloped Magos Haneman in a swirl of speculations. The silvery glint of metal no longer conceals his anxiety, nor does his scarlet robe conceal his doubts. The Drukhari, Marazhai, Eldari hues are always too bright. They stupefy the mind. But with this Xenos, I can only see billowing darkness where his heart should be. Nay, 1,000 shades of darkness, from a slate-colored haze to the midnight black of a starless sky. I prefer not to peer into the gloom of his colors, Lord Captain, lest it swallow me whole.
Cassia's shoulders hunch involuntarily.
Streaks of fiery copper snake through the Proctor's soul, as though something had recently burst free. Anger, rage, pain, and left an indelible mark on it. Gone is his previous aura of steel gray, forced out by a new palette. His heart now bleeds new shades, natural hues that throb in time with his pulse. This transformation is mesmerizing. I have enjoyed...
Greetings.
Alright, so make sure no one else has any new dialogue. I guess we'll check in with Heinrich Montag. Yep. Alright, Marazhai, let's speak to you.
Rogue trader.
Aside of you, Marazhai cocks his head in an almost bird-like motion. I wish to know more about you and your cabal.
Ask your questions. I will decide which is worthy of an answer.
The dark, devouring eyes gleam with interest. You speak low Gothic. Knowing your kind, I cannot believe that you learned it willingly.
It was a punishment. One of my raids was not as successful as it should have been, and Irimaris ordered Tavantius to forcibly implant the knowledge of the repulsive monkey language into my mind. Supposedly so that I could at least benefit the Cabal by coaxing the monkey into their cages. 5 days I spent under a cerebral burner in the Spire's main hall. to the delight of Irimeris's entourage. I dislocated every joint, struggling in agony against my shackles. But I would endure it all again to expel this poison from my head.
Marazhai licks his lips, then he smirks. You're the Draken of your Cabal. What does that mean exactly?
The Draken is the first among the blades of the Cabal of the Reaving Tempest, and the Drukhari who stands but one rung below the Archon. The Draken leads raids and wages wars against other Cabals, keeps the arrogant true-born and half-born upstarts at bay, and has the pick of any opponent in any battle. Irimeris used to have others in her inner circle, but I ensured that they all disappeared one by one, and that their successors were too terrified to take their place. That was when my sister engaged an incubi order to serve as her bodyguards. Incubi do not respond to fear or bribes.
What sparked the conflict between you and Irimeris?
Must there be another reason beyond survival and ambition? Camorra does not tolerate weakness. Camorra respects only strength and cunning. Either you climb upward on the corpses of your enemies, or you become one of the steps underfoot.
How is it that the great and terrifying Marazhai was only the Draken of the Cabal, and not its Archon?
Keep your arrogance in check. Irimeris was clever and deadly, and if I had underestimated her abilities and strength, I would have been food for the Urguls long ago. The very fact that she surpassed me speaks for itself. I refused to give her cause to cast me out as a traitor. No, our rivalry, our little game that ran since our birth, took time. And another thing, when you're at the top, you need something to stave off boredom. This game amused us and terrorized the rest of the Cabal.
Marazhai narrows his eyes. Nazrakai and the Cabal of the Black Heart. What is their relationship to your Cabal?
The Cabal of the Black Heart is the most ancient of all the Cabals, and the largest. It casts a shadow over all Camorra, and when the Black Heart strikes, you submit or you die. The Reaving Tempest was not prepared to perish, so when the Black Heart's shadow stretched as far as us, Irimeris's predecessors chose to bend the knee and become their vassals. Irimeris never liked the Cabal's subordinate position. Her words, and sometimes her actions, directed against the Black Heart, prompted whispers of discontent and fear among those who served her. I was not willing to renounce the protection of Asdrubal Vekt's own Cabal. If I had succeeded in overthrowing Irimeris with Nazrakay's aid, many within the Reaving Tempest would have supported me.
Vivantius the Arch Machinator. What is your connection to him?
Vivantius was Irimeris's ally, not mine. The Reaving Tempest is his patron, and patron also to the witches of the arena. I've had cause to seek out his artistry several times, and each time with difficulty. Of late, he's been gone from Camorra more often than he's been in it. He was probably in one of his lairs where he hides his other experiments and creations.
Do you have any idea where his other layers might be?
After Vivantius quarreled with the witches and was stripped of the Cabal's protection, his havens in Camorra were turned into a deadly trap. I imagine they've been ransacked and destroyed by now. His other hideouts may be somewhere in the tangle of the webway, or in real space. But that last possibility is madness even for a homunculus.
When did you have need of his expertise?
When the grotesque of a rival Cabal ripped my arm off at the shoulder, when I needed a substance to wring the truth out of you in the Obsidian Court, when I had personal desires that only a master of flesh could satisfy.
What personal desires?
You are just dying to know, aren't you?
Marazhai folds his arms and gives you a pointed smile. That is enough about the homunculus. Marazhai nods. The more I listen, the more it seems that, for a proud Drukhari, very much enjoy submitting.
An amusing example of a primitive mind. Any Drukhari towers over any monkey, and we do not conceal our attitude to livestock, but my Kibellite kin. Every one of them should be treated with caution, and those who have already demonstrated their power and might are a deadly threat in their own right. I do not revel in submission. I accept things as they are. And I wait until a point of weakness reveals itself and calls to my blade.
Marazhai's eyes narrow, and he stares at you for several seconds as though he's trying to bore a hole right between your eyes. You call yourself a Trueborn, but what does that mean?
It is a caste in Camorra. Noble Drukhari born under certain circumstances. Their cradle before birth was not an amniotic gestational tube, but a living womb. Carrying a fetus for such a lengthy term is as good as a death sentence for a female Drukhari. She is too vulnerable to her enemy's attacks, and she is of no use on a raid. In Camorra, only the most powerful Drukhari, who are able to surround themselves with the best protection, can allow themselves such an extravagance. Farkaza Aziriesh, poisoner of Azdrujar, and Shaimish's elect, was one such exalted leader of the Drukhari. The result was worth the effort.
Marazhai casually waves a hand, inviting you to admire his person. You have numerous titles, I recall. Tell me about them.
Eviscerator of Illiridas, Blaze of the Barkag Kingdom, and Slayer of Corocius the Pale. Illiridas was a world inhabited by our distant Eldari cousins, until I led a reaping raid there. The Barkag Kingdom was a separate cluster on the fringes of Camorra before it went to war with the Reaving Tempest, and by the time I left, I was wading through the blood of its inhabitants. And lastly, Corocius the Pale. He was an ancient homunculus who betrayed the Aziriesh at the behest of another cabal. That was not a military victory, but a personal one. In his attempts to make himself invincible, Corocius had sown inside himself the deadliest creatures from the depths of Camorra. It did not save him. I cut out every one of his 8 hearts and sent them to his former coven as a warning to the rest.
I see.
Are you sure?
For a second, the corner of Marazhai's mouth quirks upward in a sneer. I wish to know more about your kind.
What exactly do you want to know?
In what way do your kind differ from the craft world Eldari?
In all ways. The Asuriani are feeble shadows of our ancestors. We are their true inheritors. The Asuriani hide from she who thirsts behind their paths, relying on the visions of their precious far-seers, or blind to the reality around them. We Drukhari laugh in the face of the unknown. We thrive off the carnage and pain we inflict.
You're kind of obsessed with pain. Why?
Because the ecstasy of suffering is the highest form of pleasure, accessible only to superior beings. By your very nature, creatures like you are incapable of knowing such gratification.
I think you're just sadists and psychopaths. Every last one of you.
An amusing explanation of something you cannot hope to understand, but a predictable one.
Why did the Drukhari hide in the webway? Why not live in real space?
Watch it. It is monkey who run and hide, not our kin. Kibellah is the legacy of our ancestors. They found a way to penetrate the tangle of the webway and move through its twisting labyrinths. Few would hazard to travel in this splintered kingdom, let alone erect bastions in it. The Drukhari are the only Eldari who do not fear the horrors of the webway. For every peril we overcome makes us stronger.
Marazhai sounds sincere, but it is clearly his truth that he is speaking. Something in his face makes you think there's another reason why the Drukhari race chose such a tumultuous dimension to be their home. I keep hearing the name Azrael Vecht. Tell me about him.
No. No one speaks of the Overlord of Kibellah without good reason. Amusing you is certainly not reason enough.
A subtle shift occurs in Marazhai's face, as if a shadow has just fallen across it. I think that will do.
Perhaps. What else?
What do you plan to do next?
I must adapt to my new circumstances. And to this bucket that you monkey call a void ship. These alloy bulkheads. So primitive.
Marazhai glances around the bridge. For a moment, you think you detect uncertainty in those mocking eyes. I must take my leave.
Then go. I will find something to amuse myself with.
Marazhai looks away from you. Alright, is that it?
Rogue trader. Then go.
Lord Captain. Lord Captain.
To what do I owe this visit?
So we have 3 companions we can give to the Inquisition if we wanted to. Hold off on that for now. High Factotum Janus Stanrock greets you with a cool smile and the merest hint of a bow. Pleasure to see you, Lord Captain. How may I be of assistance? What's your news about the Protectorate? To keep apprised of things. We discovered a world that is home to a long-abandoned colony founded centuries ago by one of your predecessors. A ship was sent there, carrying several thousand colonists who were to restore the derelict settlement. After the ship entered its system of destination, contact was lost with it, and its fate remains unknown. Perhaps you might like to investigate the disappearance of that vessel personally. In addition to that, your lordship, pirates have presented a serious problem for your domain. For centuries, a group of bandits headed by a ship called the Elusive Contempt has been raiding cargo vessels on their way from the Protectorate's most plentiful extractia. Their ability to deftly escape pursuit by patrols has allowed them to operate with complete impunity. The pirates' flagship has been spotted in a nearby system. Your ship, Lord Captain, is sufficiently powerful to finally chase down those brazen scoundrels and bring them to justice. The Astropathic Choir has received a series of alarming messages concerning the Armor 4 system, where a dangerous space anomaly has supposedly manifested itself. Its nature is unknown, but the fabric of space within the system is reported to be curved and unstable. It is said that any ship entering the region disappears without trace. I believe we're out to be prudent and steer clear of that system. Factotum hesitates, as if unsure that what he has to say is worthy of your attention. There is something else, Lord Captain. The ship's astropaths have caught echoes of alarming messages. Unidentified ships abandoned by their crews have been spotted in several systems of the Expanse. It may only be a rumor, but those who encountered them have gone missing. That is all, your lordship. Alright. Do we have anything to give away? Fuel. We've got a bunch of new stuff. Yeah, a bunch of new stuff. High spinner armor. They had power armor. Here it is. Modified artificer armor. Is that it? Oh, the dragon scale power armor. Some flashbangs, advanced medikits, Astartes Flamer is not unique. Laurels of Command. The wearer gains the move ability that costs 0 AP. The wearer and targets of move are immune to the slowed effect till the end of the round. Military Combi Tool. Whenever the wearer uses a non-attacking consumable item, it counts as an attack of a different type than the previous attack for the purposes of versatility. Also, this combi tool grants a 50% chance that a consumable item will not be spent when used. Overcharged Plasma Gun. This weapon can only make overcharge attacks. Its damage is increased by 15%. Psi Focus. The wearer deals additional warp damage to their melee attacks based off your psi rating. While whenever the wearer suffers a critical hit, their dodge and armor is reduced by 30% until the end of combat. Auto-Stimulant. The wearer gains immunity to effects depending on the number of unyielding beacon stacks. 6 or more stacks, immunity to bleeding. 9 or more stacks, immunity to toxin. 12 or more stacks, immunity to burning. The wearer gains all previous immunities. A Battle Stimulator Medikit. Elite Synth Leather Boots. Whenever the wearer successfully blocks an attack with a shield for the first time in a round, they gain 2 AP on their next turn. Notes on weaknesses. Wearer gains a permanent bonus to direct damage. This bonus is doubled if the wearer's attack triggers an opening. That'd be good on Marazhai. And Scout Armor. The wearer's cover efficiency is increased by 15%. This bonus doubles if the wearer has not moved during their turn. Base armor property plus 15% armor if the wearer is in full cover. Kinda cool. Just so while I'm thinking about it, we'll check these. So what does he have? Yeah, 5 mental damage or plus 30 warp damage. We're gonna do that. Definitely gonna do that. And he can have that. Then the blocking and 2 extra AP. We'll do that instead. Alright. Oh. Lethality. There you go. Alright, Soul Pattern Shotgun. Not the most exciting. Just one thing, really? Sectari Ranger Armor. Holy Power Armor. Alright, just kind of get an idea of what we can look forward to in the future. Valley Commission, nothing yet. Fine. I may not do any trading with these guys yet. Might say that for next episode.
You are spoiling me with the splendor of your presence again, Shireen. Have you decided to treat your soul to the fruits of my eloquence? Or do you wish to discuss business with the newly appointed owner of a Mercatum Tabula Officiale?
Dry Smile shines brighter than any star you have seen. Seems like you and Trickster Core were close. Jamie lost his head.
My gang is quite the void beast, Shireen, with 3 heads stemming from a single neck. Core's untimely demise will not interfere with our mutual business. I do feel sorry for his twin, though. Cora has been getting into trouble with her brother since they were kids. Getting out of trouble too, but not this time.
The sparkle in Jai's dark eyes fades for an instant. Jai looks away and continues dryly.
But why are we talking about the departed, Shireen? We must save a few good words for the living. Take Falco, for example. I will impale that ashmag on a stake, Shireen. You will see. I will pick a slim one, so he has more time to appreciate it.
Jai clenches her steel hand until it starts squeaking in protest.
Oh, I have no doubt you will.
Take heed, Nemo. Our blessed Domin honors us with a visit. The one who delivered this ark from the curse of your existence.
I think we've already read that. It was a trying time for you in Kimura, but you're home now. Back on the ship. How are you holding up?
I am ashamed of what I said, of how I acted, of my hesitation. Now that I can see the stars through the portholes again, feel anew the ships beating hard, once more breathe the bitter air of the lower decks, my mind has become clear. I am Kibellah, servant of the undying Emperor. I am your blade and your shield, and thus it shall be, now and forever. Thus I will be. May
Alright, have you discovered anything more about the door from your visions?
No, Lord Captain, not a thing. And I'm wandering from bay to bay, scaring the crew. But don't worry, I'm sure that as soon as we get close, well, there'll be no mistaking it.
Idira shakes her head.
Of course.
Alright, who am I forgetting? Nobody. Sweet, we're all caught up. Let's go and level everybody up. He has a few levels to go. We'll do Deadly Aim, I guess. Psyker Extremis. Ballistic Skill. Sure, Covert Protocol. While the operative is in partial cover, the cover efficiency is increased by 15%. This bonus is doubled if the operative is not moved during their turn. Then again... No, let's do this instead. Comprehensive Analysis. The target of analyzed enemies has 2 or more exploits. That target suffers additional plus 1 additional exploit. Let's see. Psychic Assault. Everyone within a 7-cell cone in front of the Psyker suffers a Psychic Shriek damage and is forced to make a willpower resistance test. All targets that fail that test are stunned until the Psyker's next turn. I guess we'll do willpower. That's an argument to be made for perception. Let's do that instead. Probably worth it too. Brother in Arms. Each ally within a 3-cell radius around the familiar has a resolve increased by +2. Most of these don't really matter for her, but... I'm just gonna do Perception here. The Awareness, and I guess the Lore Warp. Eager for Battle. Where's that at? There it is. I've already read that. It's 2 extra AP the first turn of combat. Again, Eager for Battle. More APs, just, you can't beat it. Stronger Together. Seen that before, I'm not going to read it again. Ballistic Skill. Alacrity. Each shot fired by the soldier grants them +1 agility until the end of their next turn. That should... I think that works with Burst Fire. And we'll do Confident Approach for the guaranteed crit. And Perception. They changed all of these. Tenets of Retribution. The Ministorum Priest deals +1 more damage and 3% more critical damage with bolt weapons. Base melta weapon and flamer damage is increased by 3%. These bonuses are doubled against demons, psychers, and xenos. So this used to be like, the Emperor Protects is like a 3% chance to ignore any attack or something like that. So yeah, they reworked all of these. I didn't even realize. We've been in Kimura, so I haven't looked at them. I guess Litany of Hatred. Whenever the Ministorum Priest uses War Hymn or Furious Recital for 1 round, the priests themselves and their allies in a 5-cell radius deal more weapon damage. This bonus is doubled against Demon Psychers and Xenos, which is mostly what we fight, especially going forward. Demolitions, probably Lore Imperium would be next. Critical Velocity. The character's critical hit chance and critical damage increased by 5% of their dodge. Again, I'm not really worried about the dodge. Extermination. Any damage the character deals is increased by +1 for every attack they have made this combat. Does not affect damage over time effects, bleeding, burning, or toxin. Cassia. Eager for battle is probably still the best choice. Tenacious Talons. Right before the Cyber Eagle begins soaring, adjacent enemies must pass an agility resistance test with a -40 penalty or become staggered for 1 round. That probably doesn't matter. There we go. Sharpened Talons. The Cyber Eagle's attacks deal +8 more damage. Willpower. Armor of Contempt. Whenever an ally is affected by an officer's ability or talent that grants temporary wounds, that ally's armor is increased by 10% for 1 round, does not stack. Let's do this instead. Commanding Voice. The range of the officer's abilities is increased by +3. The range of voice of command is increased by +6. How did my gaze? The Navigator deals damage to an enemy. The enemy must pass a willpower resistance test or become immobilized until the start of the Navigator's next turn. And I guess Fellowship, since she is officer. Emergency Protocol. When the Cyber Eagle suffers lethal damage for the first time in combat, it remains in combat and immediately soars, regaining 33% of its maximum wounds. And then Willpower. Oh, already got Willpower. I guess Fellowship here. Awareness. Attention. After an ally takes an extra turn provided by the character, the ally gains +7% armor, +7% dodge, and 3 movement points until the end of combat. Does not stack. Kibellah. Exsanguination. The executioner immediately inflicts bleeding on an ally of their choice, including themselves. The ally gains a bonus to dodge and 3 additional MP until bleeding ends for any reason. Agility. Well, all of her stuff scales with, I think. Wound Streaming Blood. A creature with the Blood Blessed or Bloodstained effect gain +1 stack of this effect each time it suffers damage from bleeding, burning, or toxin. Open the Veins. A creature with the Blood Blessed or Bloodstained effect gain +1 stack of this effect whenever bleeding, burning, or toxin is inflicted on it. I have Medikai, but I guess Athletics. Eager for Battle. Pascal. Autonomous Protection Algorithms. In combat, familiar... I don't really care about that. Do Eager for Battle. So power armor doesn't count as heavy armor. If I get him that power armor, I guess that doesn't really matter. Fires of the Forge. Forgeable characters gain +4 deflection against the burning effect and flame weapons. Do weapon skill. Hey, it's an exposure. Exposed weakness costs 0 AP. Grab that. Consolidation. The Overseer immediately dashes to their familiar within... is that what I want? Strategic adaptation. Depending on the familiar's number of wounds, the Overseer or the familiar gains a special benefit for 1 round. Less than 50% wounds, the next 3 hits against the familiar have their damage reduced. 50% wounds or more, the Overseer deals % more damage with their next attack. That attack kills a target, does not count toward the attack limit per turn. The Overseer regains any AP spent on it. Works for me. I'll use their stuff anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. Strength there, and... utility Mechadendrite. This Mechadendrite is equipped with all kinds of tools to communicate with machine spirits. Increases tech use and demolition by +10. Let's go do heavy armor proficiency. Or does he have power? Do power armor proficiency instead. And logic. And peak condition. Alright, 2 left. And after we level them up, we'll probably wrap it up, and then next time... What is it going to do? Oh yeah, trade with all the factions. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. So Jai, what are we going to do with you? Probably attention, she is an officer. Right? No. Yeah, she's an officer. That's right. She doesn't need strength, so it doesn't matter. Counterattack stance. A defensive stance now has a 10% -10 penalty to weapon skill for attacks of opportunity granted by this ability instead of -20. These attacks of opportunity deal an additional +5 damage. Ballistic skill. Be vigilant. Allies under the effect of the officer's abilities gain a bonus to the weapon skill equal to 10 and will deal 7 more damage on attacks of opportunity until the start of the officer's next turn. Follow my lead. We've already read that because my main character has it. Toughness. Offensive following. Whenever an ally uses following, the ally gains 19% more damage against all enemies in a 2-cell radius around the vanguard for 1 round. Advanced skill persuasion. The character gains +13 persuasion. I don't need... Oh. Poetry of Pain. This character's Yukari ranged weapons deal 20% more damage for each damage over time effect the target is suffering. Commerce seems thematic. A masterful display. When the character's single shots deal damage to targets other than their main target, they gain +5 ballistic skill until the end of combat. We have a couple weapons for her as well. A wildfire for Ulfar. We've read that before. Not going to read it again. Weapon skill. Accustomed to glory. Whenever the Arch Militant or their ally uses a heroic act or desperate measure, the Arch Militant gains +1 and +10% damage on all attacks until the end of combat. Tenacity. Once per combat, when a Death World character suffers a stun, blinded, or mobilized effect, this effect is ignored, and they instead gain +20% of their maximum wounds as temporary wounds. We have awareness already covered, and... Browse makes sense, or athletics. Eager for battle. Okay, it's hard to pass that one up. Alright, then real quick while I'm thinking about it, we had a couple weapons for Jai. I can find her. Yeah, 23 to 35, so we'll swap that out, of course. And... yeah, 2 blast pistols. We had something for her as well. It was one of these things. Something to do with rate of fire being increased. Dang it. One of these things. There you go. That'll be good for you. And then the Cyber Eagle can get more damage. There you go. Yeah, not too worried about it. Yeah, I don't remember where that item is that... Alright, well, maybe I'll find it off camera. Or next episode when we do our... try to optimize our trading. But either way, for now, I'm going to call it here. Next time, we'll do some trading, and if I remember, we'll speak to Nomos. And go from there. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.